Today's review, Fargo. This is a 1996 film nominated for Best Picture. Didn't win, it won for Best Actress, Frances McDormand, and for its screenplay by Joel and Ethan Coen. This is pretty much the movie that elevated the Coen brothers from being kind of like, like the indie cult favorites, kind of, to like the Oscar darlings, to like the most notable directors working today, which they've remained to this day. So this is kind of like their tentpole kind of film that really kind of announced in a much broader sense their talents to the entire world, which is pretty cool. And pretty cool that a movie like this would be nominated for Best Picture. I mean, it's definitely not something that's the norm, really, if there is such a thing as a norm. But I mean, basically, first things first. Okay, if you've seen this movie and you're gonna sit here tell me that you watched it and afterwards you didn't try out the accent, you're a damn liar. Everybody does it, like, oh, you betcha, oh, for sure, oh yeah. What the heck you mean? Everybody does. Everybody does it, and that's part of the charm of the movie. Part of what sets it apart, because like this movie in like 100 little ways. Kind of sways from convention, plays with it, and like seriously, the accents they are a big part of that, because I don't know, like it's just that there's certain accents, certain dialects that are somewhat acceptable to see in movies, and some that you just don't see, and you don't see the Minnesota, North Dakota kind of accent in too many movies, particularly in what's supposed to be a thriller. This is pegged as a thriller, though it's definitely has elements of one, and has kind of the groundwork of one, but it is kind of more like a comedy, and it pokes little holes in the genre, sort of. And yeah, I mean, like it does go in little ways that it plays with things. Basically, the plot, pretty simple plot. William H. Macy, he's kind of this weak and sort of stupid, pretty stupid man. He needs money, as they often do in these kinds of movies. So he devises this little scheme to hire two kidnappers, played by Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare, to kidnap his wife. Then they split the money under the table because his wife's father is quite rich, and he just doesn't want to ask for the money, and he knows he won't get it if he asks for it. Blah blah blah. That sob story. But what the two hired kidnappers don't know is the sum is much larger than what he proposes. He proposes for $40,000. They get 20, but it's actually $1 million. So that's kind of the starting point of the movie. But of course, things along the way, kind of go wrong, as they often do. But it's, again, the little things about this movie that makes it so great. There's so many little moments that make it feel kind of, though it is supposed to be this genre story, it makes it feel kind of true to life, basically. I could name like 1,000 different scenes, but there's always like something like, there's one scene where the William H. Macy character, the deal with his father-in-law goes sour. He doesn't get the finder's fee that he was hoping to get. He's very frustrated, walks out of the office. Of course, it's a lot of snow. You see a lot of snow in this movie, and he's using the scraper on his car. He's scraping the windshield, so much so that he's doing it frantically, and then he just kind of throws it and goes, ah! And then he picks it up, and he keeps on doing it. Like, he keeps on scraping the ice off his windshield, because he has to. Where's he going to go? I mean, any other movie would kind of stop at that part, but this one doesn't, which is kind of good about it. And, stuff like Marge Gunderson, she, will stop for food at like what was it? It was like a Denny's or something, or like a drive-through things. I don't know. I'm Canadian. There aren't as many fast food chains. So this is probably obscure with Jack in the Box or whatever. I don't know. But, and the little shore just, sit in her car, go, yeah. And plus she's pregnant, and that's another thing you don't see. One, in a movie like this, you don't see the woman as a main character, let alone a pregnant woman. I mean, when you think about it, how many movies star as the lead character, as the hero of the movie, a pregnant woman? Not too many. Kill Bill doesn't count. So it's stuff like that that's neat. Or that one scene where Steve Buscemi is out with one of the prostitutes, and the waiter goes by, and he's like, "Oh, refill." Waiter just passes by him. Was he deaf? I don't know. Any other movie, the waiter would come. It's just little things like that. And like a scene where Marge Gunderson will call up on the phone, ask where a good restaurant is. A million little things, which makes it so good. And I mean, the movie, though, it is, it does have the groundwork as a thriller. There's twists and turns. There's, it's not like a completely slapstick, hilarious romp or anything like that, because serious things happen. People get killed. There's violence, and bad things happen. But yeah, the way it goes about it is just so unconventional, and I think that's why this movie kind of has gained so much notoriety. Like right now, I mean, you can say this is an absolute classic film, and it does deal with just universal and timeless kind of themes of like greed, just a little bit of money. That's what you're gonna do, at the end, and it's true because it's so funny. Like of course, this is totally 100% spoilers coming up here. So if you haven't seen the movie, please don't watch this review. Please stop watching now. This is a short review. Great movie. Please watch it. But to continue, everybody knows the famous scene where Peter Stormare, he kills Steve Buscemi at the end, puts him in the wood chipper, and kind of why that happens is just ridiculous. Like when you think about it, it's like, okay, Steve Buscemi, he ends up killing the father-in-law of the William H. Macy character, grabbing the suitcase full of cash. He sees that it's a lot more than $40,000, a lot more. And so he just takes the $40,000 and hides the rest in the snow, puts the scraper to indicate where it is. So I guess like the ice scraper is like a symbolic thing, or I don't know, but whatever. And then he comes back, and then they're about to part ways. Then he starts arguing about having to pay out for one of the cars. It's like you have close to $1 million just waiting for you, buddy. Why are you gonna sit there and argue? And that's something that's just a trait of the character, basically. Because even like when he grabs the license plates from the parking lot because he needs them to cover his trail, basically. He gets in the argument with the guy at the entrance about like $3. It's, I don't know. It's just funny, I think. Just a little bit of money drives people crazy. It's absolutely true, which is an absolute truth of this movie, which I love. And yeah, I mean, it's just with the Marge Gunderson character, she is a great character, I think, and kind of what, in addition to it's different. She's a woman, she's pregnant, and she has the accent. It's completely something that you don't see too often. Like this movie is all about, yeah, I've kind of seen this before, but at the same time I haven't, and what I love about what the movie does, and what you just don't see in a movie like this, in a supposed thriller like this, is that essentially this is her job. This is a job for her. So she has other things on her mind. She has her husband. She has her baby on the way. The husband is played by the wonderful and often underutilized John Carroll Lynch, who's fantastic in his small role. And, she's always finding something to eat because she's pregnant, needs the food. Visits or meets up with an old school friend, which kind of that scene. I forget his name, Mark Chen, I think is the character's name. But like, the thing about that scene is that while it does kind of set apart from the movie, kind of stops it short, you could argue, but it does kind of establish what the Marge Gunderson character is all about. She's so much in control of her environment and her circumstance, in such a very, very understated way, that you don't notice that she's kind of controlling everything. Like, when he's like trying to flirt with her, get in touch with her, whatever, even though she's married and pregnant, and he, tells all the lies and stuff like that. He tries to sit next to her, and she's like, "Oh, can you sit over there?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she's like, "No, just because, I don't want to hurt my neck." So that's kind of, I don't know, I think that really establishes, her character very well. And again, it's just like a job for her. So she has other things going on. So many movies sort of like this, you would kind of see this, the cop character as like obsessed with the case and nothing else exists in their life. Meanwhile, this is her job. This is her day to day. She's gonna go home and be with her husband at the end of the day. That's kind of the point of the movie, I think. And it's a very sweet ending, all things considered. With the ending when they're in bed, and she doesn't talk about anything about what's happened, even though she stopped the murderer, put him behind bars, and meanwhile they're just talking about her husband's stamp that one for the 3-cent piece, and they kiss each other goodnight. Oh, 2 more months, our little baby's gonna come. It's a sweet ending. I like it. And I just love this movie. Well deserved for Frances McDormand for her performance playing Marge Gunderson. Really deserved that Oscar. I thought it was a great performance. William H. Macy was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He did not win. I don't know who won that year. I can't remember off the top of my head. But he was great. He really was great. And so fun. You just hate the character so much, but he's so funny. Steve Buscemi should have been nominated, though. I thought he was great in this movie. Top 3 Steve Buscemi performances, in my opinion. Peter Stormare, great, kind of as the Marlboro Man, the man of few words, and kind of the wild card, basically. And yeah, I mean, the cast like this, I mean, because they have different dynamics and they have different kind of attitudes, their characters are all different. I think it meshes together in a really interesting way, and assists kind of the unconventional story, basically. And of course, Joel and Ethan Coen won for the screenplay, which is great. But it didn't win Best Picture. English Patient won, I know that. I don't know. I think this should have won. This is a great movie. This is a classic. I love it. It's just so great, don't you know? But yeah, what else can I say? Absolute classic. Big thumbs up for Fargo. So, thank you for watching.